Good morning to everyone. My name is Tanja Kumaran and my metric number is 23DBT20F1047. Today I would like to do a simulation video on fermentation of yeast and sugar in zip bag log. So in this experiment, the amount of yeast and the substrate are changed to observe the outcome of the fermentation process. The amount of yeast used in this experiment are changed from 1 tablespoon of yeast to 2 tablespoons of yeast, and also different kind of substrate are used such as white sugar and also brown sugar. At the beginning of the experiment was done without adding substrate to the yeast as a control measure of the experiment. In this experiment also we have to do 6 sections. First sections are 1 tablespoon of yeast without substrate, 1 tablespoon of yeast with white sugar, 1 tablespoon of yeast with brown sugar, and also continually with 2 tablespoons of yeast without substrate, 2 tablespoons of yeast with white sugar, 2 tablespoons of yeast with brown sugar. So the materials and apparatus we're gonna use for this experiment are yeast, brown sugar, white sugar, ziploc bag, measuring cup, water, tablespoon, body fat sugar. So let's start the procedure. First, put yeast inside the ziploc bag. 1 tablespoon of yeast. Then add water inside the yeast and mix it well. After mix it well, zip the bag and make sure there is no air inside. Now measure the internal thickness of ziploc bag by using body fat taper. It shows 10.20. Add 1 tablespoon of yeast inside the zip bag. So after that we need to add water and mix it as previous and zip it without any air inside the zip bag. Again measure the internal thickness of the zip bag by using body fat taper. It shows 10.20. Now add again 1 tablespoon of yeast inside the ziploc bag. And add 1 tablespoon of brown sugar inside the ziploc bag. Now add water inside the ziploc bag and mix it very well as previous and zip it without any air. After that again measure the thickness of the internal ziploc bag by using body fat. It shows 10.20. Again put 2 tablespoons of yeast inside the ziploc bag, and now we won't add any substrate, so directly add water inside the ziploc bag. After add the water, we need to mix it well and zip it without any air flow inside the zip bag. The thickness of the 2 tablespoon is 10.20. Again add 2 tablespoons of yeast inside the ziploc bag, and also now add white sugar. 2 tablespoons of white sugar was added. And then add water inside the bag. Mix it very well and zip it without any airflow inside. Again measure the thickness of the fat, so it shows 10.20 also. Now it's turn for 2 tablespoons of yeast added with 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So we need to add the 2 tablespoons of yeast inside the zip bag and also add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar inside the zip bag. And followed by water. After adding the water, well and zip it without any airflow inside. The thickness was measured and it is 10.20 also. After 10 minutes, there was observation was taken over. We observed that there is no sign of fermentation process in the first one, which is 1 tablespoon of yeast without substrate. It is because there is absence of sugar. Fermentation of yeast did not take place as the yeast doesn't feed on the sugar, so there is no release of energy and carbon dioxide as the end product of that at the 10 minute. So the thickness was measured and it's same as the starting point, so 10.20. Result for 1 tablespoon of yeast and 1 tablespoon of white sugar, the measure was 20.60, and followed by 1 tablespoon of brown sugar with 1 tablespoon of yeast is measured, the thickness is 20.60, and following by 2 tablespoons of yeast without any substrate, the thickness is 10.60. It is because there is no release of energy and carbon dioxide because there is absence of sugar. And followed by 2 tablespoons of white yeast with 2 tablespoons of white sugar, the result is 16.0, and also 2 tablespoons of yeast with 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, the thickness is 40.40. From this experiment, we conclude that when there is no presence of substrate like sugar, there is no fermentation process is take place because there is no release of energy and also carbon dioxide. If there is a sugar presence, then there is a fermentation process is take place because there is release of energy and also carbon dioxide. That's all from me. Thank you.